Let's talk tariffs, those often overlooked aspects of international trade. Tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and they can quietly drain your wallet, impacting your everyday spending without you even realizing it. They're a hidden cost that adds up over time. When governments impose tariffs, often in response to trade disputes or to protect domestic industries, the prices on everyday items we rely on begin to feel the squeeze. Take something as simple as orange juice, or consider the cost of cars. Suddenly, the price tags on these goods start to rise, reflecting the added cost of the tariff. The cost increase isn't just a few cents here and there, it's a cumulative effect. It adds up significantly, making life noticeably more expensive for families trying to manage their household budgets. Businesses that rely on cross-border trade, importing materials or exporting finished products, get squeezed by these tariffs. They're often left with no choice but to raise prices for consumers or, in more dire situations, cut jobs to stay afloat. For example, Canadian companies that rely on American steel for their manufacturing processes now have to pay more for that essential material. This increased cost can put them at a competitive disadvantage, risking potential layoffs or even complete closures of their operations. On the other side of the border, American businesses selling their goods to Canada face the exact same problem. With higher prices resulting from tariffs, they often experience fewer sales as Canadian consumers become more hesitant to purchase their products. Small companies in particular often lack the resources to absorb these increased costs, and can be utterly devastated by these sudden and unpredictable changes in trade policy. It's a chain reaction, a ripple effect that spreads throughout the economy. Ultimately, consumers, workers, and business owners all feel the pinch of these tariffs in one way or another. In the end, trade spats and the tariffs they bring about create a climate of uncertainty and instability in the market. This makes it incredibly tough for anyone to plan ahead, whether you're a family budgeting for the future or a business trying to invest and grow. In response to escalating U.S. tariffs, which have been a point of contention for quite some time, Canada just announced a bold move, a significant escalation in the trade dispute. This involves implementing $16 billion in new tariffs on a wide array of American goods entering the Canadian market. Prime Minister Mark Carney says this is a direct, proportional, and carefully calibrated response designed to protect vital Canadian industries and jobs. The government emphasizes that this action is not taken lightly. The tariffs target a wide range of U.S. products, everything from raw materials to finished goods, from appliances, consumer electronics, and household goods, to various food products and agricultural commodities, matching the value of Canadian exports that have been negatively impacted by the U.S. taxes and trade restrictions. The ultimate goal: to apply pressure on the U.S. administration to return to the negotiating table and ultimately end the trade dispute through constructive dialogue. This isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about sending a clear and unequivocal message that Canada will defend its economic interests. For decades, Canada and the U.S. have maintained a strong and mutually beneficial economic relationship, acting as each other's top trading partners, with goods, services, and investments flowing freely and efficiently across the border, supporting countless jobs and businesses. Now that long-standing partnership, built on trust and cooperation, is facing a significant threat. These tariffs have the potential to disrupt intricate supply chains that have been carefully constructed over years and shake up industries and local economies on both sides of the border, impacting workers and consumers alike. It's a high-stakes standoff with potentially far-reaching consequences, and at this point, no one can definitively predict who will blink first or what the ultimate resolution will be. The economic fallout from this trade war could be felt for years to come, with lasting impacts on businesses, jobs, and overall prosperity. This trade fight didn't start overnight. It's a culmination of years of simmering tensions and evolving global economic landscapes. To truly understand the current situation, we need to rewind the clock and examine the key events that have led us to this point. Tensions rose significantly when President Trump slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum imports. This move was framed as a national security measure, but it sent shockwaves through the established trade order. It was a move that shocked a long-standing free trade relationship, one that had been carefully cultivated over decades through agreements like NAFTA. The move challenged the very foundation of North American trade. Canada, feeling blindsided and unfairly targeted, hit back with its own tariffs, imposing countermeasures on a range of U.S. goods. This tit-for-tat response escalated the conflict, turning what was initially a dispute over specific commodities into a full-blown trade war. The stakes grew considerably as Canada threatened even broader tariffs, signaling a determination to stand its ground and protect its economic interests. This was a clear signal that Canada wouldn't back down and was prepared to engage in a protracted trade battle. Adding fuel to the fire, a digital services tax aimed at U.S. tech giants further soured relations, creating another point of contention between the two nations. This tax, seen as discriminatory by the U.S., prompted Trump to halt trade talks, further deepening the divide. There were brief moments of hope, like Canada temporarily pausing the digital tax, gestures that suggested a willingness to find common ground. These gestures, however, only led to short-lived negotiations, failing to produce any lasting breakthroughs. Because the core issues, the fundamental disagreements, remain unresolved, preventing any meaningful progress. Each side is digging in, hardening their positions and refusing to yield on key demands. And with new tariffs fueling the cycle, the trade relationship continues to deteriorate, creating a vicious circle of retaliation. The latest $16 billion Canadian tariffs serve as a stark reminder of the economic consequences of this ongoing dispute. They show just how far apart the two countries are. Not just geographically, but also in terms of their trade policies and priorities. The standoff continues, with neither side willing to make significant concessions. And with no easy solution in sight, the future of Canada-US trade relations remains uncertain and fraught with challenges. Not all industries are hit equally by tariffs. In Canada, steel and aluminum sectors are struggling with higher costs and job uncertainty. U.S. industries targeted by Canadian tariffs like agriculture and manufacturing are feeling the heat too. Canada's strategy targets key U.S. states to ramp up political pressure. Business leaders on both sides warn that tariffs disrupt supply chains, raise prices and threaten jobs. Many are urging their governments to negotiate, not escalate. The longer this drags on, the more damage it does to both economies. The biggest fear? This tit-for-tat could spiral into a full-blown trade war. More tariffs mean more pain, slower growth, frozen hiring, and shaken consumer confidence. Deeply connected supply chains could unravel, pushing both economies toward recession. The fallout isn't just economic, it's diplomatic. A prolonged dispute could poison the Canada-US relationship, making future cooperation harder. Millions of jobs and the stability of entire industries are at stake. The path forward is risky and uncertain. Only real dialogue can pull both countries back from the brink. This is about more than trade, it's about the Canada-US relationship itself. Decades of trust and cooperation are now under strain. In Canada, there's growing talk of diversifying trade and relying less on the US. If the dispute drags on, the damage could last for generations. Suspicion could replace partnership, hurting both countries. The alliance has brought prosperity and security, now at risk. Canada's $16 billion tariff move is bold, but it raises the stakes. The outcome could redefine North American relations for years to come. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Canada's tariffs? Is this a necessary stand or a risky gamble? How do you think it will affect jobs, prices, and the future of Canada-US relations? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Thanks for watching. Your voice matters in shaping this debate.